What's going on, everybody? Marvel Cross 316, and this is my first haul of 2024. Today we have a nice fat stack of comic books to look at today. So get ready, get comfortable, and just sit back and relax because we have a great haul to look at today. Starting right off the bat, we're going to start out with Fantastic Four issue number 243. If you've been keeping up with my hauls, back last year I started collecting John Byrne's run of the Fantastic Four, and right now I'm mainly focusing on filling in the holes for that run. And that run was a 6-year run for the Fantastic Four that John Byrne worked on back in the 80s. And I'm a big fan of John Byrne, and this is one that I didn't have, and it is kind of a big key. If you know anything about John Byrne's run, this is one of the more special books. And the reason why this is such a key issue is because of the cover. And I will just let y'all look at this. This is a nice higher grade issue of Fantastic Four number 243, and it cost me a pretty penny too. All of these books, by the way, I picked up off of eBay. And there you can see John Byrne's signature right there. 1982 was when this book came out, I believe 1982, June of 1982. So yes, folks, the reason why this comic is so valuable is because of the cover. I mean, this is just a beautiful cover by John Byrne, and everybody goes up against Galactus here. It is such a good issue. I had just read it, I think, a week ago. And so part of the love of this hobby right now is just reading some of these classic issues. And one thing that I have dedicated this year is reading more of the Copper Age. I'm very familiar with the Silver Age. I've read all of the Spider-Man stories for the Silver Age. I've read most of the Spider-Man issues for the Bronze Age, but I'm not too familiar with the Copper Age. And so for this year, my goal basically is to fill in a lot of the Copper Age and also read the Copper Age. I mean, this is some of the greatest storytelling that I've ever seen. And so here we have issue number 93 of Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, came out in August of 1984. And this is one that I didn't have, and this goes right along with the black suit Spider-Man era when Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, had just come back from that alien world, the Beyonders world, and he got that fantastic symbiote suit. And so I love this run right here and this whole storyline with Spider-Man getting this new costume, because I guess I'm a big fan of the red and blue costume, but in particular, I just love that black suit Spider-Man. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite Spider-Man costume of all time. And so yeah, I just needed to get this one because I didn't have it, and I read it, and it's just a really good issue. I really enjoyed it, and this is right around the time that Spider-Man is dating the Black Cat. And so I have all of these issues in order as well. So if you're paying attention, you notice that was in August of 1984. Well, this is September of 1984. And this is a key issue because this is the first appearance of Puma. Puma makes his first appearance, and there he is on the cover. And he is basically hired by the Kingpin to hunt down Spider-Man. Well, let me correct that. He was hired by the Rose. And so the Rose is competing against the Kingpin to be, you know, this big gang lord. So this is a great storytelling. And we have, yes, Ron Frenz doing the cover here. And I mean, Ron Frenz, he's the first Spider-Man artist that I was ever introduced to as a kid. And so part of my reason why I am intrigued and have a goal to collect the Copper Age Spider-Man issues is because that's what I started out with when I first entered the hobby. And so that is why this year, specifically, when you are going to be paying attention to my hauls, you're going to notice a lot of Copper Age issues because I want to fill in my knowledge gap with these issues. So here we have Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 94, and this came out in September as well, right along with issue 256 of Amazing Spider-Man. And this time we have Silvermane coming back from the dead, and he's, looking out to get Cloak and Dagger. Makes an appearance as well, and he's after Dagger because he's looking for her light. And so this also is a really great issue, and I just love the cover. Al Milgrom was doing the artwork and the storytelling at the time that this came out in 1984. And if you are not very familiar with this storyline, I definitely suggest y'all to go and pick up these issues because it's just some of the best storytelling I've ever read. So we now have Marvel Team Up. This now is annual number 7. And this one is a really nice book because it's a nice big book. I think it's over 25 or 30 pages long. And I don't really know that much about the Alpha Flight. I'm very new to the Alpha Flight. I know the Alpha Flight has been around since the early 80s, and I don't have any Alpha Flight books, by the way. So this is kind of my introduction to the Alpha Flight and getting to know the entire team. We have North Star, Aurora, Marina, Sasquatch, and also Puck. And so this was a really good issue because we had the main villain here, which is the Collector. So he's a really cool villain that basically he kidnapped Spider-Man and Marina. And now the Alpha Flight have to come to the rescue and save Spider-Man and Marina. And so this one was a really cool issue. This is one of the last issues of the Marvel Team Up because if you are a collector of the Marvel Team Up series, you know that it only ran 150 issues. And so this is towards the tail end of that run. Now we are getting to some good stuff here. And this one definitely was a lot more expensive when I bought this off of eBay. And this is a story where Spider-Man basically finds out that his alien suit that he picked up off of the Beyonders world is a living organism, and it's trying to trap Peter Parker in its own suit. And so he went to the Fantastic Four and let Reed Richards analyze the suit, and he'd come to find out that that suit is trying to live off him and it's trying to trap him inside forever. And so they had to basically shoot the alien symbiote off of Spider-Man's body and captured it into this little tube. And so this is where we finally see the true meaning of the symbiote suit, and that it will eventually become Venom down the line. So here we have issue number 147 of Marvel Team Up. This is November of 1984. Spider-Man has now gotten rid of his alien symbiote suit, and he's teaming up with the Human Torch. And it's a really good issue. They're going up against the Black Abbot. The Black Abbot makes a lot of appearances towards the tail end of this series. He's like one of the main villains. And so I've really gotten into this. I've read some of these issues so far, and I'm going to read all of them. I'm what you call a comic book reader. I get the best out of every book that I buy, and I use these comics for their intended purpose. I'm not just going to buy them and just let them collect dust. I'm actually going to read these books because I find a lot of joy out of just reading these books. And so this is drawn by John Romita and John Romita Jr. So John Romita Sr. and Jr. both collaborated on this cover. So that's really cool. And the Human Torch, again, is a very common guest in this run. I think out of all of the heroes that Spider-Man teamed up with, the Human Torch is one that teamed up with Spider-Man the most. Now we get into even more good stuff. So in issue number 257, which was the second appearance of the Puma, Spider-Man finds out that Mary Jane has known for a long time that he is Spider-Man. And so we have this story, which is really cool because we find out the backstory of Mary Jane. And if you have never read this issue, then I definitely suggest that you read it. It gives a lot of detail about who Mary Jane is and what she had to deal with as a child. And it's a really, really interesting issue. I used to own this issue too. This is one of the very first Amazing Spider-Man stories that I've ever read, but for some reason or another, I lost the issue, or maybe my little brother tore it up or something. I just don't know, but I'm glad to have this back into my collection. And it's a beautiful Ron Frenz cover. I mean, my goodness, this era of Spider-Man is very underappreciated. You know, we get a lot of love to the Silver Age with John Romita Sr., with the Bronze Age, of course, but you gotta love the Copper Age too. The Copper Age has a lot of great covers, especially this one right here. This is annual number 18, which came out December of 1984. And I had just read this one yesterday, and man, oh man, is this a really good issue. So we have the wedding of J. Jonah Jameson and Marla Madison. And of course, the Scorpion finds out. He breaks loose from prison. He kidnaps John Jameson, which is the son of J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, just all kinds of things happen in this issue. If you've never read this one, definitely get your hands on this. Definitely recommend it. I got it in very fine shape. And so, yes, folks, some really good stuff happens in this issue. A lot of action. And I love how Ron Frenz draws the Scorpion too, because I think he, as you know in my artist spotlight, he is very influenced by the great Steve Ditko. And the way that he draws Scorpion, I think, is very telling that he was inspired by Steve Ditko. Now I have also read this one right here. This is Marvel Team Up issue number 148. And this right here is the time when Spider-Man's teaming up with Thor and they're fighting the Black Abbot again. We have a newsstand copy here. And what is so significant about this one right here is that this one is a Canadian price variant. This is the very first time that I've ever owned a Canadian price variant. And when I had bought this book off of eBay last month, I actually didn't realize that I had bought a Canadian variant. And so if you see right here in the price box, this is supposed to be 60 cents. But in Canada at the time, they were selling them for 75 cents. And so this is kind of a rare book. And I'm really glad to add this one to the collection. And yet another beautiful Al Milgrom cover here, where Spider-Man and the Thor are teaming up. But yeah, folks, if you ever come across a book and it has a 75 cents and it's from 1984, definitely pick it up, because that is a Canadian price variant. Now we're getting into 1985, and I have yet to read this one, but I'm looking forward to it. This is Marvel Team Up issue 149. And this time Spider-Man teams up with Cannonball, which is really cool. And I don't exactly know who this villain is. I don't know if that's Wendigo or if that's somebody else. But yeah, Spider-Man teams up with Cannonball. I think this is the very first time that he does team up with Cannonball. And this one right here is in lower condition. It's probably VG shape. It has that spine roll right here, as you can tell. But, you know, it's something to add to the run as I continue to collect the Marvel Team Up series. And up next, we have Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, issue number 5. So yes, definitely going to be a heavy Spider-Man haul for this one right here. Hope you are a Spider-Man fan as much as I am, because that is pretty much one of the goals this year, is to work on Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Marvel Team Up, all those issues, all those series that were going on at the time. I'm definitely working on all those series this year, just adding to them as much as I can. And so here we have a very 80s cover right here. As you can tell, this is Ace. This is his first appearance, and he looks just like Michael Jackson, which is interesting because Michael Jackson was very popular at this point in 1985, and Spider-Man is back in his black suit, so that's very interesting. I'm looking forward to reading this one. It's a double-sized issue. Don't get any better than that, y'all. And you don't, when you see an annual, definitely pick it up. I mean, you're going to get a lot of, you're going to get your money's worth if you are picking up an annual of any kind. Because, I mean, a double-sized issue, and you get a lot of good reading out of that. But now we're going to jump to Web of Spider-Man, issue number 2. I'm not going to show issue number 1. I don't have that one yet. A goal of mine this year is to pick up a graded copy of Web of Spider-Man number 1. So I'm going to hopefully show that book in a future haul this year. But we got issue number 2, and this is, I think, the second appearance of these Vulturians. I think they're like working for the Vulture, I think. I've never read this issue, never owned this issue. I'm going to start working on my Web of Spider-Man collection, because that definitely needs some work, because I don't own too many Web of Spider-Man books. So I'm very happy to add these next 3 issues to the collection, which we have number 2, and then we also have issue number 3. So Spider-Man now is fighting the Vulture along with the Vulturians, and this is a beautiful cover right here, drawn by the great John Byrne. The great John Byrne cover right here of Web of Spider-Man issue number 3 in fine condition. And I got all of these, as you can tell, from mycomicshop.com on their eBay store. And I just love my that, you know, eBay store for mycomicshop.com, because I mean, they practically have every comic book that you can think of. If you look up any comic book issue, I'm sure they have it. And that's just very convenient for me as I'm trying to get all of these issues. So here we have Web of Spider-Man number 4. Spider-Man's going up against Dr. Octopus. And man, oh man, I'm looking forward to reading this one. I think out of any of the villains Spider-Man goes up against, some of the funnest reads is when he goes up against Dr. Octopus. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. Looks like a really good battle he's going to go up against with Dr. Octopus. So definitely looking forward to this one. So that's July of 1985. And now back to Amazing Spider-Man. This is one I didn't own, and I'm glad to add it to the collection. So going along with the stories here, and you can tell these are all in really good shape. I think that's the Toad going up against Frogman, and Spider-Man is caught in the middle. So the man, this frog. Really cool looking issue. Got this really cheap. It was only like $4. So really happy to add this one to the collection. And I think that is it for the Spider-Man issues. So let's now get into the Defenders. A part of my goals this year is also to work on my Defenders run. Just like last year, I added quite a bit of number of issues for the Defenders. And so going along with the ones that I've already been reading, I read issue 80, so now we have issue 81, where the Defenders, the original members, Hulk, Namor, and Doctor Strange are in the Tunnel World, and they are basically, fighting the unnameable villain. He's like this really evil villain that's threatening to destroy the Earth or something like that. But all of these original Defenders are going after him, and Hulk gets captured here. This one's a pretty decent issue. I just read this one. And then we have issue 82. So this is a really cool issue as well. Really looking forward to reading this one to see the outcome, because now it looks like the Hulk has been mind controlled, and he's gonna go after the Defenders and fight them. So yeah, folks, that's all we have to show for today. I hope you like this haul. It's quite a bit of books to show, but I had put a poll out to ask, do y'all want to see longer hauls or shorter hauls? And y'all voted that you wanted more longer hauls, so that's what I'm going to be doing this year. And so I'm going to keep doing that. That means that these hauls are going to be kind of spaced out for the time being, so that I can have some time to build up enough books to show, just like I've done for this video. But y'all, I hope you enjoyed what I had to show for today. Go ahead now and drop a big old like for this video. That'd be much appreciated. Comment down below what is your favorite issue that I have shown in this video, and I will see y'all in the next one.